Alright, so we are finally at the first temple, which I'm super excited for because obviously there's going to be a bunch of lore and just plot and everything like that, but I'm also excited because I am a huge, Legend of Zelda fan, so the fact that we're taking on, the temples now, I feel we're going to get, a lot of, Legend of Zelda references, a lot of, video game references and stuff like that, so I'm super excited for that, along with just the plot progressing. I feel this episode in particular is going to focus a lot on Marcy, and dealing with her since she's kind of the brains, essentially of the group, and I feel she might have some problems or troubles with solving some of these puzzles, but she'll overcome it and, they'll take on the temple and they'll complete it and everything like that, because man, that would be anticlimactic if they just failed. So yeah, but I'm super excited for this episode, so let's get into it. You always know it's a big episode when they just completely skip the intro to the show.
Who knew there was a bug that tastes just like chocolate? Why didn't anyone tell me sooner?
There's chocolate-covered bugs, though. Or the ones that are in, those little lollipops.
You kids deserved a treat after, well...
Last episode. Oh man, it's gonna be so awkward between them now. He's gonna try so hard to make it up to her. Marcy! On the bird! Yeah! Oh jeez.
Is this your house?
Oh.
It's so rustic and cute.
Oh.
When was it built?
Man, she is so pumped for this.
Sorry. Long flight, a lot of pent-up energy. Anyway.
Man, I'm surprised you're so energetic about things. Usually when I got off a plane, I am jet-lagged. Oh. Yeah. And then she's gonna take the thing, it's gonna get filled, the light color, whatever, is gonna come back, and she's gonna be able to use that to track down the second temple that we saw from the promo.
Joe? Joe Sparrow!
Joe Sparrow?
This first temple is said to specifically challenge your intelligence.
Which is
so I'm
perfect
pretty
for
sure
you, Marcy.
Full of puzzles. Marcy Wu,
yes.
Head of the chess club, master RTS player, straight A student, except for gym, but only because I was reading in class, which
Oh, Flappy Bird? Man, you're making Flappy Bird references? Oh, they heard Peter Pan?
Marcy!
Oh my god.
That
I'm sure
was
she's
the worst
fine.
Saturday of my life.
It happened in one day.
I wouldn't mind being let down.
Oh, I don't think you want to be let down from here, Hop Pop. You'll go splat.
Speaking of temples, I think you way overhyped this place.
Forest temple. It's like a forest temple, classic traditional Zelda. Also, I'm glad this is carrying over from the previous episode. It wasn't just one and done. Everything was resolved. I'm glad that there's a little bit of awkwardness. There was a mural that matched what's on the opening at the end there. Oh man, there's more stuff I gotta decode.
Did I learn
Great.
an entire dead language just for today?
Marcy is
you
me.
better believe I did.
But I have my codes, by the way. I have my whole little thing here, my cheat sheet. And then this is the Breath of the Wild, Divine Beast puzzles and stuff. Oh man, they would all be concussed.
Got it.
Man, she's quick. And she's so hyped. She's going on the video game adventure of her dreams. She is a bit overconfident, and I feel she's gonna run into problems on the last one, but that's okay. I already figured this one out from the promo.
I do.
Huh? Who's you?
Marcy does it a lot quicker than I do, though. Oh, blues are just crushed.
To get you home alive.
He's
I've already had a good life.
doing the martyr thing, I will
on the tile. This is
put
my
myself
quest.
in
It's
danger
my
to
responsibility.
save everybody
Your
else. I mean, I am glad that they're at least pointing out reasons why they shouldn't put themselves in danger because they have other obligations.
It's fine, but let's stop pretending I'm part of the family, okay?
Oh, Anne. Of course you're part of the family. This last one is gonna be a problem for her. It's gonna be the chess one.
I don't understand, Anne. I thought you forgave me.
Yeah, well, maybe I spoke too soon.
Oh god, no.
I'm sure they'll work it out by the time we get there.
Maybe you should help them out. What, how are the SpongeBob time card?
Man, this is a long hallway.
It is a long hallway. I was about to say an hour. Jesus. What's the message say? Marcy, decode it so I don't have
Where
to.
was I? Few
Thank
have
you.
brain. It's Flip
Flipwort. What's Flipwort?
Chess,
It's a
basically?
strategy game. Max.
Uh-huh.
I got so good
Who
at it.
taught
I
you?
even beat King Andrias.
Yep. I don't like this. Man, they should come out with a Flipwort, like, game, essentially. Just like chess, but Flipwort with all the pieces and stuff like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Cause these flippers be tired.
No, you guys are gonna be the pieces. Oh, this is gonna be
Ollie, are you okay?
Okay.
hard
I got
for
a sword, baby.
Marcy because she's gonna have to be strategic and plan without sacrificing Anne and the planters. This is why this is a good temple for Marcy, because she's gonna have to learn how to put other people's safety above logic and reason and strategy. Oh, she's on the opposing side.
Wait, what?
And no!
Oh, no. Traitor! Uh-oh. This also reminds me of, like, the Harry Potter chess sequence from the first movie. Ah!
Guys, this thing cheats.
Oh, no!
Still not enough to beat me.
I figured that scene with her slamming the piece down was from here. Some people thought it was from, like, a future episode where she finds out about, like, Andrias. But the way that the colors were on the pieces, which were white, and Andrias's were more of like a bronze or brass. They were like a brown color. Because that was my first thought too. But I was like, no, I think it's for the first temple.
I'm sorry, Anne. You take all the time you need. Maybe it's enough to admit we've still got issues, instead of pretending they don't exist.
I'm glad that they're covering this and giving time and stuff and not moving things along too quickly.
If we're gonna lose, might as well lose all the way.
Wait, is it like in the outhouse? Is it gonna take him back there?
What? The outhouse?
Wait a second.
Oh,
No.
okay.
That last bit was oddly casual. Of course!
Yeah, that's what they're gonna use to find the green eyes.
It's leading us to the next temple.
That's good. Ow!
Oh, Anne, whoop.
Oh man, on her foot that she doesn't have a shoe on. Ugh.
The political success.
Unan's back though. Yeah, yep, he's just totally in shadow, totally normal, totally cool, all good. Oh god. Oh god. Alright, yeah, just Eldritch Horror Demon downstairs in the basement. Totally cool. Totally fine. Everything's gonna be good. Yep. So after coming off of After the Rain, we have The First Temple, an episode filled with plenty of lore, but also balanced out good character development as well. And that's where I would like to start first for this video, the character development. After the Rain was a big episode for Anne and Hop Hop, and I know with the way that episode concluded, it made it seem like everything between the two was fine. But I like with this episode, we see that things are a bit awkward between the two. After the events of After the Rain, it's understandable how things aren't back to normal for Anne and Hop Hop. Hop Hop feels a lot of regret and guilt for lying and really wants to try and make it up to Anne, and Anne is still in a weird position where she doesn't know if she can completely trust Hop Hop, but still tries to be nice towards him. We see when the two enter the temple with the rest of the group, they go out of their way for each other, whether that be letting the other go through the door first or volunteering to step on a switch. And this leads to some banter between the two where they keep trying to justify why they should be the ones to put themselves in harm's way. And while it's nice that the two acknowledge that the other has reasons to stay safe, like Hop Hop needing to still look after Sprig and Polly or Anne needing to get back home, it ultimately leads to Anne making a pretty downcast comment. Anne saying she isn't a part of the family is rough because you can tell it hurts her by saying it. I think Anne did genuinely feel like she was a part of the family, and Hop Hop has even referred to Anne as his adopted granddaughter. But after what Hop Hop did to protect Sprig and Polly, his biological family, Anne is feeling like she doesn't matter much. While yes, Hop Hop lying was not the best move, he did have good intentions in trying to protect his family, and this includes Anne. While Anne needs the box to get back home, there is still a lot we don't know about it, and it could be incredibly dangerous for Anne to use, especially given the last scene in this episode, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Hop Hop obviously doesn't take kindly to the "I'm not part of the family" comment, and this leads to the two bickering. From Anne's perspective in this, she's still hurt from Hop Hop's lie, and from Hop Hop's perspective, he's confused why Anne is being so distant if she's already said she's forgiven him. When we get to the Flipboard game, Anne being on the opposing side is just a fun twist for the episode, but it also works with Anne and Hop Hop's dynamic for this episode, feeling like they are on opposite sides. It gets to the point where Hop Hop is begging Anne for a resolution, and this at least shows that he wants to make things right between them, but Anne is still unsure of where the two stand and needs more time to think. I think one of the biggest issues that people had with After the Rain is that they felt like Hop Hop and Anne resolved things too quickly, but I think the first temple added a lot to After the Rain in that aspect. The two are still working things out and they will need a little bit more time before things go back to normal, because Anne does say she would like that. And by the end of the episode, things are still a little bit awkward between the two, but they are working on it and making steps in the right direction. Now, the other character who had some good development is Marcy. It's been a little while since we last saw her, so it's nice seeing her return. And this episode is especially great because we get to see Marcy overcome one of her biggest flaws in getting a bit of tunnel vision and ignoring others. We saw this a bit in her first appearance in the show Marcy at the Gates. She stopped mid-fight to make a concoction of some sort, leaving Anne and the Planters to fend for themselves, and subsequently got Polly separated from the group when she used the concoction. It's not that she had bad intent, but she can be a bit oblivious to others when she is focused on something, and we see that here throughout the episode. Anne even mentions and brings up several examples that took place over the course of one Saturday. Once inside the temple, we see Marcy showing her smarts in being able to decipher the long-dead and ancient Amphibia language within. But with the first puzzle, we see how quickly she forgot about Anne and the Planters, causing them to be jostled around. Seriously, I'm pretty sure they all are concussed now. With the second puzzle, Marcy is quick to identify it and decode the message, but is just as quick to throw herself into danger. In this puzzle specifically, she needs the help of someone else to press the other switch, putting them in danger as well, and almost getting burned and crushed. Marcy again seems pretty oblivious to this and is eager to move on to the next and final puzzle. She even disregards Sprig and Polly's concerns that Anne and Hop Hop fighting won't be good for completing the final puzzle. Again, it's not that she has bad intent, it's just that she gets so caught up in things that everything else kind of falls to the wayside. But I think it shows how well Marcy is written. Even though she needs to be more mindful of those around her, her character never comes off as cruel or uncaring. Marcy is an endearing character, flaws and all. But we see her finally accept that she has been ignoring Anne and the Planters in the final puzzle. At first, Marcy is her usual self, using logic and strategy, and is eager to take on a challenge. Even when the Planters are used as the pieces for Flipboard, Marcy seems pretty undeterred, having confidence in her skills to keep everyone safe, although Anne is still a bit apprehensive. Now, to Marcy's credit, she does keep the Planters safe and would have won the match, however, the game cheats and doesn't allow her to win. Since Marcy is such an intelligent person and has many accolades, not winning is probably one of the worst things that could happen in her mind. Even though the game cheats, Marcy keeps trying to win. It isn't until she sees how upset Anne and the Planters are that she realizes she's doing more harm in trying to win rather than accepting a loss. Although to her credit, she did technically win. But this is really the first time since she let Anne go with the Planters at the end of a day at the aquarium that she's put others before herself. Marcy is a character that values accomplishments, so she continually wants to prove herself, but sometimes this can indirectly put others in danger. But for the first time in the show, she values the safety of Anne and the Planters over her own personal accomplishments, which is a really big step for Marcy. With Marcy forfeiting the match, this actually leads to her completing the final puzzle, as the temple was meant to test both intelligence and humility, which makes me wonder what opposing traits will be featured in the next two temples. We know the second temple is heart, so the opposite of that would probably be something with logic or strategy. After that is strength, so maybe something to do with patience or pacifism. But speaking of the temples, this brings me to all the lore we got in this episode because man, there was a lot. One of the first big reveals is that Marcy activates the music box to release one of the gems. There is also a little melody that plays here. I'll have to do some digging to see if this specific melody is used anywhere else in the series, but I could see this melody having importance going forward in the show. A fun little Easter egg is that the bird in this episode is actually named after Amphibia crew member Joe Sparrow. But moving on, this brings us to the amygdala woods, named after the part of the brain that processes memory, decision-making, and emotions, so pretty thematic with the Temple of Wit. Additionally, Gyrometria esculenta is an actual species of mushroom. Once inside, we see a very familiar mural on the wall. Though it is obscured, this is the same mural we see in the opening. Thankfully, there have been some dedicated fans who have worked at creating what the mural would look like without the Amphibia text over it. With the three figures bearing a resemblance to Anne, Marcy, and Sasha, this is likely a part of the prophecy, something that Andrias mentions later in this episode, and I will get to that scene specifically in a little bit. But as to what I think this prophecy is, there is a page in the book From a Day at the Aquarium that, once deciphered, reads as follows. 3 stars burning bright come from beyond to expel the night. Should they fight or embrace the fall, their choice will determine all. Anne, Marcy, and Sasha being these stars, and the night being... well, we'll get into that later. The first door that the group is presented with actually shows all the trials that await within this temple. The Rubik's Cube, floor panels, and flipboard are all seen here. Also, thank God for Marcy being a nerd like me and deciphering everything, so I don't have to this episode. The group proceeds through the various puzzles and reach the final puzzle, which is a game of flipboard. A game that is essentially like chess. Marcy apparently learned the game from King Andrias, who is said to be one of the best flipboard players in Amphibia. This also adds a lot to the scene we saw at the end of Marcy at the Gates with his flipboard pieces and board. The flipboard match itself was more in line with character development rather than lore, so I won't go over it here. However, since Marcy completed the temple by overcoming one of her flaws, that implies that Anne and Sasha will have to do the same in the second and third temples, which will make for some great character development in their respective episodes. Now when the gang finds where they can charge the gem, we get this scene of the green from Marcy's eyes draining. We know from Marcy at the Gates that her eyes have glowed green before, so it would imply that whatever power she had within was transferred to the gem. And I'll go into my theory for this in a bit, but by charging the gem, it now acts as a guide to finding the next temple, which will be the next major stop for the gang. But this takes us to Newtopia, where we see that Yunnan made it back safely. But she also provides some important information. Apparently, the political situation is getting worse, with Small Valley riots turning into something more. Additionally, the Toad Lords have agreed to meet, which threatens Andrias. While it's not the next episode, there is an upcoming episode, Toad to Redemption, which focuses on Mayor Toadstool. Mayor Toadstool is offered his dream job, but realizes he doesn't want to leave Wartwood, so maybe this plot thread will come into play that episode. Yunnan also tells Andrias that Grime is still a problem, though is cut off before she can inform him that Sasha is serving alongside him. Something he probably would have liked to hear, but he quickly retreats to a secret underground passage. We also see the return of the Shadowfish from the sleepover to end all sleepovers. But the biggest reveal we get in this episode is that Andrias is working under someone, or rather something. A giant multi-eyed creature that seems to be kept alive by special technology Andrias has located below the castle. And I'm getting some Major Bellows vibes here, by the way, but I always assumed that Andrias would not be the ultimate big bad of the series. It was pretty obvious from the beginning that this guy had ulterior motives, so him being revealed as a bad guy wouldn't have been that shocking. But who Andrias is serving under, that is the more interesting twist. Now I think it's important to point out that Andrias says that the prophecy is being undone, meaning whatever mission Anne and the gang are currently on is helping Andrias achieve his goals. Going back to the scene with Marcy, I think the gem getting charged took whatever power she had. Now let's go and look back at the presumed prophecy. 3 stars burning bright come from beyond to expel the night. Should they fight or embrace the fall, their choice will determine all. So I believe these stars are Anne, Marcy, and Sasha. They have to defeat the night, which I can only assume is this multi-eyed creature. By having their powers drained into the gems, Andrias is essentially making it so the night can return and the girls will be rendered powerless. The latest I think we'll be seeing Anne, Marcy, and Sasha together again will be in True Colors, since it seems we'll be getting flashbacks with them. However, I wouldn't be surprised if this happens earlier, like in the third temple. Either way, the first temple definitely left us with a hell of a final scene. And overall, I think this episode was one of the best in the series so far. It balanced out lore, character development, and plot progression very well. Additionally, it also patched up some of the issues people had with After the Rain. So all around a fantastic episode of the show, and the episode that really is kicking off some of the bigger plot threads that we'll be seeing as we inch closer to the Season 2 finale. We've got 1 temple down and 2 more to go, and after the big reveal at the end of the episode, I cannot wait to see what's in store for Anne and the gang. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you have a fantastic day, and until next time guys, take care.